The Gaza-Palestine conflict has long been a source of tension and violence in the Middle East, drawing the attention of the international community. The recent decision by the BRICS group to impose sanctions on Israel has sent shockwaves through global politics. This move, unprecedented in its scope and impact, reflects the deepening divide over the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. In this essay, we will explore the background of the BRICS nations, the historical context of the Gaza-Palestine conflict, the reasons behind BRICS sanctions on Israel, and the potential consequences of this decision. Before diving into the intricacies of the sanctions imposed on Israel, it is crucial to understand the BRICS group itself. BRICS is an acronym for the 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These nations have come together to form a coalition that aims to promote economic growth, political cooperation, and mutual understanding among its member states. While BRICS started primarily as an economic forum, it has evolved into a platform for discussing global issues and shaping international policies. The Gaza-Palestine conflict is deeply rooted in history, with both sides claiming historical rights to the land. The conflict can be traced back to the late 19th century, when Jewish immigration to Palestine began. Tensions escalated throughout the 20th century, culminating in the Arab-Israeli War of 1948, which led to the establishment of the State of Israel. This event remains a focal point in the Palestinian narrative, as it resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs. Over the years, there have been multiple conflicts, wars, and negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians, with no lasting solution in sight. The Gaza Strip, a small territory on the Mediterranean coast, has been a flashpoint of violence and suffering. Since Hamas, an Islamist political and military organization, took control of Gaza in 2007, there have been several rounds of conflict between Hamas and Israel, resulting in casualties on both sides. The decision by BRICS to impose sanctions on Israel has sent a strong message to the international community. To understand the reasons behind this move, we must delve into the following factors. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has resulted in a humanitarian crisis, with civilians, especially children, bearing the brunt of the violence. Reports of civilian casualties, destroyed infrastructure, and limited access to basic necessities like clean water and health care have sparked international outrage. BRICS nations argue that Israel's military actions have disproportionately affected the Palestinian population, leading to a grave violation of human rights. BRICS nations have consistently supported a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict, based on the borders established before the 1967 Six-Day War. They contend that Israel's expansion of settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem is a violation of international law and a major obstacle to peace. The sanctions are viewed as a way to pressure Israel to halt its settlement activities and engage in meaningful negotiations. The BRICS group, along with much of the international community, has criticized Israel's unilateral actions, such as the construction of a security barrier and the annexation of the Golan Heights. These actions are seen as undermining the prospects of a peaceful resolution to the conflict. BRICS sanctions are aimed at discouraging such unilateral measures and encouraging Israel to return to the negotiating table. Despite numerous international efforts to broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians, the conflict has remained in a diplomatic stalemate. The BRICS nations believe that imposing sanctions on Israel is a way to break this impasse and push both parties towards meaningful negotiations. They argue that economic pressure can be a powerful tool to influence a change in Israel's approach to the conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has garnered significant attention and support from various global movements and civil society organizations. Public opinion worldwide, especially in BRICS nations, has been sympathetic to the Palestinian cause. BRICS leaders may have taken these sentiments into account when deciding to impose sanctions on Israel, aligning their foreign policy with the sentiments of their citizens. The decision by BRICS to impose sanctions on Israel carries significant geopolitical implications. Let's explore some of the potential consequences of this move. Sanctions can have a severe economic impact on Israel, particularly if they target key sectors like defense, technology, or agriculture. Israel relies heavily on its exports and trade partnerships, and sanctions from BRICS nations could disrupt its economic stability. This economic pressure may incentivize Israel to reconsider its policies in the Gaza-Palestine conflict. Israel has historically enjoyed strong support from the United States and some European nations. BRICS sanctions could lead to Israel's diplomatic isolation on the international stage, making it increasingly reliant on its traditional allies. This isolation may hinder Israel's ability to negotiate effectively in future peace talks. The Middle East is a region of strategic importance, and the BRICS sanctions on Israel may lead to shifts in regional dynamics. It could potentially strengthen alliances between Israel and countries that are not part of BRICS, such as the United States, and alter the balance of power in the Middle East. While BRICS sanctions aim to pressure Israel, they may also have unintended consequences for the Palestinian territories. Economic instability in Israel could affect Palestinian workers who rely on employment there. Additionally, sanctions might not necessarily lead to an immediate resolution of the conflict, potentially prolonging the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. BRICS sanctions on Israel have sparked mixed reactions globally. Some nations and organizations have welcomed the move as a step towards addressing the long-standing conflict, while others have criticized it as counterproductive. The international community will closely watch the impact of these sanctions and their implications for future negotiations. BRICS's decision to impose sanctions on Israel highlights the group's growing role in global politics and conflict resolution. If successful, this move could position BRICS as a key player in mediating international disputes and promoting peace. The imposition of sanctions by BRICS on Israel also highlights the evolving landscape of global geopolitics. BRICS, originally formed as an economic forum, has gradually expanded its focus to include broader geopolitical issues. This decision to sanction Israel demonstrates BRICS nations' willingness to engage in international conflicts and promote their own vision of a just and equitable world order. It marks a shift from their historical role as primarily economic powers to influential players in global politics. Israel's response to the BRICS sanctions will be closely watched. The Israeli government is likely to face pressure from various quarters, both domestically and internationally, to reassess its policies in the Gaza-Palestine conflict. There may be debates within Israel about the effectiveness of the BRICS sanctions and their potential impact on the nation's security and diplomatic relations. Moreover, the United States, a long-standing ally of Israel, is expected to react to the BRICS sanctions. The U.S. government has traditionally used its veto power in the United Nations Security Council to shield Israel from international condemnation and sanctions. However, the BRICS sanctions may further strain U.S.-BRICS relations and raise questions about the future of U.S. involvement in the Middle East peace process. Another aspect to consider is the role of other global powers in this conflict. The European Union, for instance, has historically been involved in peace negotiations in the Middle East and has expressed concerns about the Gaza-Palestine conflict. The BRICS sanctions on Israel may prompt the EU to reevaluate its own stance and actions, potentially leading to a coordinated international effort to resolve the conflict. Furthermore, the impact of BRICS sanctions on Israel's internal politics cannot be underestimated. The Israeli government may face increasing pressure from both its coalition partners and opposition parties to respond to the sanctions decisively. The Israeli public, which has a diverse range of opinions on the Gaza-Palestine conflict, may also become more polarized in response to these external pressures. The BRICS group's decision to impose sanctions on Israel in response to the Gaza-Palestine conflict underscores the complexity and sensitivity of the issue. Humanitarian concerns, international law violations, unilateral actions, diplomatic stalemate, and global public opinion have all played a role in shaping BRICS' stance on the conflict. The potential consequences of these sanctions are far-reaching, affecting Israel's economy, its diplomatic relations, and the regional dynamics of the Middle East. The BRICS sanctions on Israel serve as a powerful reminder of the role that economic and diplomatic pressure can play in international conflict resolution. However, whether these sanctions will lead to a meaningful resolution of the Gaza-Palestine conflict or further exacerbate tensions remains to be seen. The international community will closely monitor developments in the region and the impact of BRICS' decision in the coming months and years. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure the notification bell is turned on so you don't miss a video.